Welcome back, everybody. This is Gatekeeper Media's production of the 2021 Discraft Great Lakes Open, presented by Discraft. I'm Brian Earhart, joined here by Nate Perkins. We have the round one coverage for you. We move to the historic Toboggan course, and the Discraft Great Lakes Open has been running for quite some time now, Nate.
What did you say, 1983?
1983 was the first year of this event. They played at a lot of different courses leading up to 2013 when they did switch to the Toboggan course. And over time, they have really worked hard to modernize this course and match the level that the players are evolving.
Yeah, that's a good point right there. This has always been one of my favorite courses, but the changes this year really separates it, and I think it's one of the better tests that we have to determine who has the best skill set out there.
And I think one of the unique parts of this course that I love attacking is the elevation change. There's insane uphill, downhill shots. Controlling your disc nose down and nose up at these extreme angles is something you don't see too often on the tour.
Yeah.
And it's an absolute blast to play and watch. Let's jump into it. Hello and welcome everybody to the front nine coverage of round one of the 2021 Discraft Great Lakes Open, presented by Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. Nate,
love this place.
We are back at the Toboggan. This is the Toboggan XXL layout. They've made quite a few changes out here this year, making it one of the more challenging tracks that we have all season. And we have a fantastic card, a lot of differing skill sets. What do you think here, Nate?
Michael Joe, we haven't seen him in quite some time. Paul Ulibarri leading the Pro Tour in Circle 1 putting over 90%. Drew Gibson has had a stellar couple of seasons. He's ready for a win. He hasn't won since 2019 Portland, but he's had a significant amount of top 10 finishes, and this is his type of course too.
And we move into hole number one, 477 feet, beautiful downhill off the Toboggan Hill, OB off to the left side. Michael Johansen, obviously one of the best woods players of all time, coming to hole one with his Comet, his signature disc. That looks a little bit short.
They seem to be playing that one pretty conservative.
And Paul is throwing a Mantis. Big, high panning turnover, it looks like. This thing is going to hit this turn and slowly flatten. What a beautiful turnover from Paul.
Is that a fairway driver?
It is an 8-speed fairway driver, and he has cooked it long and left. He is safe in bounds. And this is, I believe, a buzz from Drew. This is that special buzz that he's been throwing for the past 2 years, I believe. Yeah, little hyzer. Look at this thing drift. Wow.
It really did drift late for a mid.
And he is out of bounds left, getting a full flex out of a buzz. Just shows you how downhill this hole is to start.
And Chris Clemons is our fourth. And Brian, we were looking at some of Chris's stats today. Chris has only missed cash 3 times ever in his pro career, the last time being the 2018 Beaver State Fling. He has redefined consistency for a 1020 rated player.
Yeah, and he really takes pride in his out of bounds percentages. He really tends to lead the field in the least out of bounds strokes per tournament often, and I believe that has a lot to do with it. And Paul running the basket from about 65 feet. He's rolled back to about 20. This is actually the second hardest hole on the course, and Chris gets the birdie on it with the lefty hyzer capitalizing on the left to right.
It's a really unique starting hole, being nearly 500 feet. Most everybody can reach it because of how downhill. It's nearly 40 feet of elevation change from the tee pad to the basket, and I'm I'm kind of surprised that it's the second hardest hole on the course.
You know, they've tightened the OB up on that left side, so any mistakes like Drew's are going to get punished now. Drew tapping in a bogey. MJ is fine taking a par, moving into hole number 2.
680, but it plays more like 800 feet. You need 450 off the tee, and you need to be center cut fairway, and then the camera just never does this one justice. You really are throwing uphill on the second. This is actually a hole that they used to call a par 5. When Macbeth shot the perfect round, this hole was a par 5, and it wasn't any different.
No, so what they've done over time is they had it in the previous position and called it a par 5, so the one that we have now. They eventually moved the basket up about 50 feet to just the brim of the hill and called it a par 4.
Okay, so they did move the basket,
They did.
though. Okay.
But now, with how alarmingly quick the field is evolving, they pushed it back to the original placement and just subtracted a stroke from the par, and here we are trying to maybe psychologically make players get more aggressive off the tee pad. Ooh, he's ripped that over. That's got to come out. That right side is not pretty. Okay. So he doesn't have a look for the birdie, but he is going to be able to at least do something and pop it up the hill. We'll probably see Drew going for a big left to right shot. They've mowed that left side a bit more.
He's had this same Jordan Destroyer for years. Slightly understable for his arm speed. He likes to crack this one high and left.
Oh, yeah. And if that comes out...
Oh, so close. That's going to be tough footing over there on that right side.
Yeah, and I would say footing is one of the hardest bits on this course. It was just an element you really have to pay attention to. You have a lot of weird uphill lies. You have a lot of these blackberry bushes that you can land in that are full of thorns. So really staying center cut is extremely important on this course. MJ knows that 800 feet uphill, it's a little difficult to get the 3 unless you throw a perfect drive. Clemons has gotten way up here. He's going forehand up the hill.
Yeah, I agree about the footing here, Brian. It takes a special kind of player to generate power on such a steep hill.
And Drew had footing, and I believe that he got up there. That is impressive. Paul with a perfect pan to flat, forehand scramble.
Do you know what he's throwing for that little touch shot?
He loves to throw raptors on a lot of those little pan shots. He's got zones in his bag. He also loves flicking just a straight-up ringer, not even a GT.
Yeah, I think that might have been the putter right there.
Yeah. One of the best overall sidearm players that I've ever played with. If there's someone I wanted to choose to get up and down from 250, it would probably be Paul, surprisingly.
That's music to his ears.
I wouldn't doubt that. And that's a par from Drew. Yeah, just a tough 3 to get. Again, this was considered an eagle just 2 years ago. So players are just fine taking the 4 on it, and we are going to move into hole number 3 in just a few seconds.
I started playing disc golf with my family when I was 8 years old. When I was 16, I got my first job as a cook at a bowling alley, and that's when I made my first batch of beef jerky. As I got better at throwing, I also got better at making beef jerky. Everyone told me they loved my jerky. After 15 years of making my beef jerky as a hobby, I decided to make it available to everyone. Double G Craft Jerky. Give it a try. You're gonna love it.
Moving into number 3, one of the signature holes here at the Toboggan. A beautiful downhill drive. We have this natural blackberry OB on the right side. Left side is all roped off, out of bounds. Basket is perched on this little elevated section. Players can just rip on this hole.
And we are dealing with a little bit of rain right here. Oh, and that just barely leaked left, and it did find the out of bounds.
Tough part about this hole for a lefty like Chris is the fairway slopes toward these blackberry bushes on the right side, which is, again, natural out of bounds. MJ just completely shanked that one to the right, trying to hold on to the disc as best he could. Again, as we have rain picking up out here, he is also out of bounds. You see a lot of different plays on this hole from a lot of different players. Driver, putter, mid-range.
Been noticing a lot of understable plays, and here's one right here.
Yeah, this is a nuke from Paul, surprisingly. And he's going to be in position for a birdie. I suspect Drew, yeah, this looks like a buzz, and he's just going to be throwing this as hard as he can and just letting that natural stability carry him forward.
Oh, that tee pad looks so slick.
Little hyzer.
Oh, he needs to
Look
at that
at
weight.
this flight. And when you throw with that much spin and that fast, who needs a driver on this hole?
He aired it out 100 feet past Yuli's nuke.
And look at this shot shape from MJ.
Is that out of bounds right there?
It is not.
Okay.
It is just kind of a decorative section for sponsorship signs. That middle section is totally safe.
I mean, Chris probably has close to 400 into the pin here.
Yeah, and he's looking at a backhand. You know, every player kind of has a different preference when it starts to rain. Some players really don't like to throw the forehand when it starts getting wet out here. And Chris just throws it short, realizes that a par save would be pretty tough from there.
This is that Mantis again.
Yeah, something he can just throw smooth. And that puts him right at the edge of circle one. Not a bad shot from Paul. He's putting for birdie. Kind of tough footing for Drew. So close to being a perfect position. And he's going to be about 35 short of the basket.
He went buzz again on the approach.
Buzz on the 915-foot hole.
I feel like a part of Drew does that just to say that he did that. Which is great.
You know,
If you can do it.
and the best part for him is he can, because he's a mixed bag player, he can choose discs that he knows he can lean on no matter what company. And just pops it off the top. Doesn't get his birdie.
He's probably one of the few 1030 players ever that doesn't have a primary manufacturer sponsor. I can't think of any.
No, he's, I believe, one of the only ones. Paul missing his birdie putt as well. And like you just said, top circle one putter on tour right now. You know he wanted to get that one. Yeah, Drew is sponsored by Infinite Discs, which I believe allows him to throw whatever he wants to a certain extent. And then also I believe he is invested or partnered with EV7, the putter company. So he has his fingers in a few different places, but yeah, the beauty of what he's been able to negotiate is that if he likes the buzz, he can throw the buzz.
Did you hear Paul? What did he say?
Little
Super
chatter.
glue?
Yeah, he's
It's what happens when it starts
Yeah.
raining. It's so hard to find the consistent grip. Sometimes you get too much grip.
Mm-hmm.
All right, hole 4, 580. It's such a tricky landing zone. A lot of players like to take the hyzer around that first evergreen. You want to be at the minimum at that tree line. If you're before it, the ceiling is really low and you're having to go uphill on this approach. If you're past it, it's a pretty simple up and down.
Yeah, they really want you to throw an aggressive power hyzer, but it's definitely tricky because that right side is not fun.
Needed to beat it.
Yeah, he's going to be a little bit behind that tree line, and like you said, he's going to have something. I've seen a lot of creative shots from back behind that tree line, but we'll see where he's at. Here's Drew.
Should see Drew just working one really high and right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, form check.
Huge hyzer, and let's actually
Let us
take
know,
a
Brian.
look. This is picture perfect form at its finest. Drew has one of the most biomechanically sound disc golf throws in the game. Look how quiet the disc is. Neutral position, 90-degree angle created with his body. And for how huge of a hyzer he threw, look how short that approach was. That's just everything working in unison together. His off arm curls and pushes down at the side. Yeah, study that one over and over again if you're a new player, folks.
Drew was one of the first players actually that asked me what I'm doing with my left arm. And I said, I don't know. What am I doing? He said, nothing, Nate. Exactly. You're doing nothing with it. And you can see right there at the end of his throw, he kind of flares his hand backwards even to create a little bit more force.
And Chris's shot flies to a pretty solid spot. MJ just throwing a chip hyzer. He's going to take a 4.
That was so conservative. That's really... Do you think you meant to play in front of the trees like that?
It looks like it. It's almost like he wants to set himself up with a wooded gap to hit. That's just his absolute specialty. One of the best woods players our game's ever seen. And normally stays in the Carolinas to play those types of tournaments. And Yuli just hits the one tree in the fairway. Obviously kind of a misfire, but that is an unfortunate result for him. Chris has jumped a little long. I'm not sure if he knows that yet. And in round 1, we already have a gallery following in the rain on the Chase Card. Disc golf is absolutely exploding, Nate.
Yeah, the park was just packed yesterday. Really cool to see all the fans out. Did it roll? MJ just not finding the groove yet.
Oh, no. And there is a pretty steep drop-off behind that basket. As you see, Chris has a pretty long putt. And hole 4 posing a bit of a challenge to these players. This actually
The 3-putt.
played as the easiest hole in the course. 3.55 average on the par 4. So a bogey on this one loses you way more than just a stroke on the field. Paul saving the 4. And the front 9, I would say, is still, with new holes being put in and changes being made, is more scoreable than the back 9. So if these players want to put together a solid round moving forward, they need to get going. So, folks, we are moving into holes 5 and 6 at the Toboggan course. Just wanted to make a note. These are brand new holes, and hole 5, Nate, one of the prettiest holes that we as players have ever seen. Hole number 5, 480 feet, downhill, perfectly sized fairway, beautiful mulch red carpet, winding its way through the woods down to this beautiful green, wide open, OB behind the basket. This is a hole that players have been just adoring all week. Such a fun hole to throw. And Paul just going driver right at it. Look at this shot.
Wow. Oh, gets that last tree.
No.
And yet, there's a couple trees at 60. There's a couple trees at like 40 that can prevent you from just parking the hole.
And Chris is going to go sidearm.
Wow.
I need to be taking notes on this one. Ooh, he's going a little hyzer out of the hand. Okay. And he's right there.
What a shot.
Hyzer flip forehand. And MJ's licking his chops now. He's finally back in the trees. And I feel like he threw a heat on this one. Look at this line.
Late drift.
And he's putting from circle 2, potentially even the edge of circle 1.
It's 480 feet, but it's just enough downhill that the distance isn't really the issue. It's more about that nose angle. Mid?
I think he's going mid-range. I don't know if this is a buzz or not. It looks to be a buzz. Maybe one of those old glow buzzes. Oh, and he slipped on the tee pad. He's fighting through everything on the left side. No way.
Kept going.
I guess that kind of balances out. He's going shovel putt, going to the right side of his body and just shoving the disc forward with his palm.
That was a good bid.
Fortunate break after a slip.
Yeah, it can be a quick bogey if you get off early. There's also OB long on this one. Oh, yes. Uli.
Give us that Gatekeeper rewind. This is his circle 2 putt that he's been working on now. He's got that spin putt from inside the circle, and then outside the circle, he switches to a straddle push putt, usually kind of the opposite. But he said over time, it's kind of worked out better that way for him.
Yeah, he was giving me some lessons on it last year, and he really figured out how to get his weight involved with that putt. And he's just able to, it looks so effortless from 60 out because it's in sync with his legs.
Exactly.
And all that pop that he's getting is right there with his legs.
And we just, casually scan over the fact that MJ gets the 2 in the woods. Clemons gets the 2 with a flip-up sidearm. And Drew sneaking away with a par after kind of pushing his drive left, moving into number 6. Nate, what do you think about this hole?
It's only 520 feet, but this drive is so tricky. You have to hit it with a lot of anhyzer out of the hand for the right-hand backhand at least. But it's easy to just like cut roll off into the woods right there.
You have to pan it flat to get it to hit this landing zone, to have this really tricky flex sidearm around the corner to this elevated basket. Elevated green.
I do love this one, though. I love this change. It's so much fun to come to a new hole like this, and especially a par 4. It just gives me the chills, honestly, to see.
And this is honestly the optimal play on the hole. It's a lefty panning forehand. This is the same disc he threw on the previous hole. Yeah, that's going to be just fine for him.
I love Chris's style with that forehand. The way he follow-throughs on top of it.
He sometimes looks like he rolls his wrist on purpose to kind of put some body English on the disc. Oh.
That's the one you do not want to hit.
MJ, always one of my favorites to play with. He'll hit a tree and then almost get excited that he gets to go back into the trees to throw his second shot. Here's Drew going with that same mid-range. Nice and soft. That's a little deep.
That might have been his putter.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty far back, though. He's not going to have much of a look for birdie. He might be able to play pin high, push a hyzer through this gap, but he's just going to go sidearm.
Ooh, nice angle.
Look at this.
Gets the first gap.
There is that big hill leading up to the basket, and he's going to have a long uphill putt. This is Yuli's second. Yes. He's going to just snap this one. Fortunate kick.
You can hear him discussing the footing. As Brian said earlier, the footing out here on the approaches is one of the big challenges at Toboggan.
And there's a purple banger from MJ, and that is always money. One of the best runs of that disc of all time, the MJ ESP banger.
Does he putt with that as well?
No, he putts with the Ringer GT.
Okay.
It's a little bit lower profile than a Rhino, very similar shape.
Wait, you putt with it?
I putt with the Banger GT and throw it. He throws it and putts with a different disc.
Gotcha.
And Paul's going to take a par as well. And here's MJ for the par as well after scrambling really nicely.
Yeah, that was a great scramble. It's pretty dense over there on that left side.
Yeah. And you'd think with the Comet turnover off the tee, you'd think he would have been absolutely in the perfect position, but even the best of us hit trees and kick off into the junk.
The Firebird has changed my life. I think that without the commitment shown to me from Innova to make this disc in 2015, I would never have made the leap to take my game to a level where I can call myself a US champion, a top 10 player in the world. In my mind, the Firebird is the greatest disc ever made.
Hole number 7, 667 feet. Beautiful tee shot to this narrowing fairway. We cut around the corner, downhill to this right to left sloping green. This is a gorgeous hole, Nate.
It is, Brian. You need 375 and it needs to be straight. It needs to finish straight. You can't fade off to the right or the left.
In a way, it kind of benefits the lefty because you can pan one left like Chris just did, and it's going to have room to come back. And I think he got to the top of the hill. If you are not at the top of the hill, like you said, it's almost 400 feet to get to a flat spot.
I'm gonna need to get kind of right here. Thanks, man.
Paul's going aggressive here. I believe this is a nuke. Little flip up. Look at this shot. And I do, after he throws this gorgeous shot, please let me show you Paul Ulibarri's form. So compact. He does a little pump. Note that the disc and his back foot are really locked together. This is something that he teaches religiously. It's just like walking, opposite hand, opposite foot. He likes to keep the disc really locked up with his cross step. And because of that, his balance is so solid, and he's able to shape so many different shots because of it.
He's been at it for a while now.
Oh, yeah.
You said 15 years of touring?
Yeah. Long time.
You know, we were just looking at a list of players that have the most A-tier wins or higher, and Paul Ulibarri is number 7 on that list.
And Drew, is this a buzz? Wow.
I really do think that that's part of what motivates him. Is he loves to show off, in a great way. I don't mean it in a negative way at all. He loves to rip out the buzz and show people what he's capable of.
Oh yeah, and I think like it's kind of changed the way he sees the game going to a mixed bag. I mean, he's able to simplify too. I mean, we saw him on hole 9 at Fountain Hills, one of the hardest par 3s on tour, throwing a buzz 470 foot on the hyzer.
He just did it. He did it again. He's going buzz, Brian. He's in the circle.
I mean, when you have that kind of power, Nate, I would probably be doing the same thing.
Here's your forehand master right there.
Yeah.
That's a lot of touch. That green is sloped to get it to land flat like that. It's impressive.
Purple banger up to the basket. And Chris is going to get up there for a par. This is a birdie putt from Drew after kind of a tough bit of footing.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah. Great birdie. Buzz again.
That's his first birdie of the round.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a slow start for our card. He's overjoyed. Paul moving to 2 under par. Starting to pick up some steam. Still quite a few birdies left. And Chris is going to tap in a par as well as MJ. And we move into hole number 8. What do you think about this one, Nate?
Well, this gap is pretty tight off the tee, and that oak tree kind of gives it a low ceiling. You want to get equal or just past that evergreen there on the right, and then it's a chip shot in from there. But this drive can get tricky. You can't go too straight or hyzer too much. And if you're off to the right, I think he knows it right there. He went a little too straight on that one, and he's going to give himself a really tricky angle.
Yeah, this needs to push as far left as you can possibly get it. It used to be OB all down that left side, but now it's open season now, and you can really try to cheat this as much as you can, but it's still not easy to get over there.
Did you say there's no OB on the left this year?
They have removed the OB on the left side, and I believe it's because they realized it's really difficult to get over there. It's actually something that should be rewarded, getting that far to the left.
This gap sets up really well for the
Oh,
for
yeah.
the lefty forehand.
And he has put his even in some incredible spotting. Wow. A javelin throw of the flag. And
Yes.
give him a gap, and he's going to hit it. Great shot from MJ.
Prime position right there. Ooh, Drew's way back. This is a big Annie.
And there's a buzz again. Flippy buzz. Big pan shot.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh, Drew.
If you've ever played this hole,
That is so far back there.
yes,
He
that
went
is
mid-range.
every bit of 400 feet of big, high turnover power with a mid-range. Great shot. And you see where Paul is and what he has to do here. He's going to go trick roller, I'm guessing. Oh, he might even just try to pan this one. He's laughing at himself already.
That's not bad at all. He's got a 60-foot look. Wait, that's where Chris landed? He went too straight as well?
Yeah, he did. He went a little bit too straight. That's that same felon he threw on 5. Just a little bit too flippy. I've found success throwing a way more overstable driver on this tee shot because distance doesn't matter as much as having a good angle. And these players going to look at their par here. MJ going for the birdie from about 50.
Wow.
Oh, man.
I love, Brian, the way that MJ changes that angle last minute into the Annie. He kind of sets it up with a little loose hyzer in the hand, and then last second he just releases it out and on Annie.
He's been playing the game a long time, and at this point, it's all intuition for him. He doesn't have to think about anything. That is a nasty, nasty birdie from where he was at. Nice shot from Drew. And he's back to even. We got a clean slate for him moving into number 9. Some chatter from our card moving into hole number 9. Kevin Jones has said this best. This hole is a disciplined hyzer. This is one that you come and you practice and practice and practice until your depth perception is right. It is a blind hyzer to the left. You can't push it too forward. You can't push it too left. You have to get this one just right, and it takes a lot of practice. Big hyzer from Drew. That's tracking nicely.
Oh, just a little early. Huh?
Yeah. He's going to be in circle 2 looking at it, but that is not an easy spot to be putting from. A little bit more flip from MJ. Does it have enough to get there, though?
Oh, it did. And you see that quite often. Those Guardians drop it down to circle's edge.
Yeah, this one feels a bit like a slot machine hole. You throw the good shot and you pull the handle and you hope some cherries pop up.
The cherries.
Paul going with a little wider, steeper hyzer. And there you go.
That's a tough one to park.
Yeah. I actually really like this from Chris. A little lower, too, to get under the canopy.
Oh, yes.
And he's
What
going
a
to be
shot.
inside circle 1.
Are you also throwing the forehand on this one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the turnover is not easy to get right here. And then there's a little flick pitch out, and here's MJ for another long birdie.
Oh, we've got a nice gallery, Brian. You hear them clapping. This was a pretty early card, man.
MJ going low left. Oh, man. Another miss right for Paul. And then Chris makes the correction, snagging a beautiful forehand birdie. He moves to 3 under par. Really solid positioning going into this back stretch. A lot of really challenging par 3s on this track. There are really not any that are gimmies on this whole
No
course.
gimmies here at Toboggan. Card kind of struggled there for a little bit, but everyone's even or better now. We're starting to play some golf. I love watching disc golf out here at Toboggan.
We move into this tougher back 9 stretch coming up soon. Again, Chris Clemons is on a pretty good track to shoot a good score here, 3 under par. Everyone is in position to make a move. And as you can see our leaderboard, we have some players tearing it up. And Corey Ellis, he is someone to watch at this tournament, has routinely shot extremely well here, so keep an eye out for him. Again, thank you so much for supporting Gatekeeper Media's production. Way more disc golf content to come. Make sure to subscribe to them on YouTube. Again, I'm Brian Earhart. He's Nate Perkins. We will catch you on the back 9.